If you want to start woodworking, but you're thinking, I don't have enough space, or I don't have the right setup, I don't even know where to begin, let me tell you about my little tiny corner in a shared barn. When I first started my woodworking side hustle for my Etsy shop, I had a teeny tiny corner of our family's pole barn. It was a 30 by 40 barn. It was a shared space. We had all kinds of equipment in there, tractor, lawnmower, tools, all the things. But guess what? That little corner, I was able to grow my Etsy shop to $5,000 months. You don't need a fancy workshop to start making money with woodworking. So here's how I started small. I had this tiny corner workspace. That is where I was able to cut and sand and assemble everything. And this isn't very efficient, but this was my workflow. So I would build projects, on my workspace. I had a miter saw table and a table for like assembly and sanding, okay? And then I would take everything up to my garage to do all the staining. Then when it was time to pack the Etsy orders, I'd bring all the boxes and everything, my cake stands, into the house and package them either on the floor or the kitchen table. I know it's not the most efficient workflow, but guess what? It got the job done. My orders kept increasing, my Etsy shop kept growing, and eventually I did outgrow that and I was able to get the whole barn to myself after a couple years. The point is, I didn't start with a big shop. I started in a small space and you can too. Let's talk about what you actually need to get started. First, a dedicated workspace. This can be a table on wheels that you keep in your garage and you can wheel it in and out as needed. It could be in your basement or a shed or, even outside. What you want though is having one area where it is for you to create. If you are fastening something together or you're sanding, you need to have a space and you really want it to be a nice level surface, and also you need to have some good lighting as well. You also need to have some kind of a miter saw setup. So a miter saw table like this, where this is dropped so that this is flush the whole way through. This is, like the best setup. If you don't have the room for a miter saw table, at least have some kind of table for the miter saw, and then you can get the roller stands to put on each end of the miter saw to support the boards while you cut. You can get these roller stands, all kinds of stores, and it's adjustable in height, but they're super easy to use and set up, and they do a great job because when you are cutting, you can't be holding an 8-foot board with just one hand. You have to have support on the end of it. This is a DeWalt table, and the legs fold up. And it's nice and sturdy, and I use this if I have to bring my miter saw out in the garage or if I'm doing some kind of home project. I use this. So this can also work not only just for a miter saw, but any saw or any kind of, area that you need. You can stain on it, you can sand on it, you can do anything. It's actually just super convenient. Another space-saving tip is to put tools on wheels. So, these are carts that I have purchased, and instead of a typical scroll saw stand, I've put the scroll saw on this cart. Because right now I'm in a shed and it is just really convenient being able to have something on wheels. You can move it whenever you need it, and when you're not using it, you can kind of just like tuck it to the side. Another organization tip that I highly recommend, and it really doesn't cost that much more money, is for every tool you have a dedicated toolbox for it. In this toolbox, I got these at Harbor Freight. They're pretty inexpensive. I have a label maker that says grinder. So the only thing you're going to find in here is a grinder and any accessories for this grinder. Got my grinder in here. I have the owner's manual. I don't have the receipt in here, but if you like buy warranties on things, that would be a good idea to keep the receipt in with it. Have a wrench and then any accessories. So this makes it so convenient. And I do this for all my tools, like the jigsaw. I have the jigsaw in here. It's batteries plus all the blades. Do this for a sawzall as well. So it's just very organized. I got this. My grandpa did that. And then I was like, hey, that's a good idea. I started doing that. And it's so simple. Some people don't do it. So I just wanted to let you know that you need to do this to help just keep your tools organized. Now let's talk about the essential tools that you need, okay? Don't need a table saw. You don't have to have, a Craig jig and all this and all that. So what I recommend are 5 essential tools: a miter saw, So you can cut your boards. You got to cut your boards to length. You have to have nice, clean, straight cuts. An orbital sander that you can sand your projects with, because if you don't, that just looks very unprofessional. So we got to sand them. You also need a drill to fasten, projects together. A lot of times you need screws if you need strength, and you're going to need a drill. A lot of times you get a combo kit with these, actual drill and then a drill driver, impact driver. And then also I recommend a brad nailer or a narrow crown stapler. It's for lighter fastening where you don't need screws. I usually use narrow crown staples over brad nails. Unless the head will be visible, then I'll usually use a brad nailer. But one of those two for, light fastening and finishing touches, plus something to cut curves. So a bandsaw, a scroll saw, or a jigsaw. If you do get a jigsaw, I recommend the battery powered one because it's just easier when they are portable like that. I know a lot of people have a jigsaw. They're a little bit more inexpensive than a scroll saw or bandsaw. And I get asked all the time, which one should I get first, scroll saw or bandsaw? I kind of like the scroll saw better. I just can do more projects with it because it can just make tighter radius cuts. But if you have a bandsaw, there's plenty of projects you can do. Just work with what you have. That is what is important. And that's it. 5 essential tools. You can literally build and sell hundreds of projects with just those 5 tools. Now, if you're thinking, okay, I get that. I don't need, a massive shop, but I still don't know what to make or how to make it. And that's exactly why I created the Woodcraft Blueprints membership, because having the right space and tools is only half the battle. You need projects that actually sell and they have clear instructions so you don't waste materials. And honestly, it's great to have someone to show you the whole process from start to finish. Inside the Woodcraft Blueprints membership, what you get every month is 2 complete project tutorials with video walkthroughs. Plus we do a bonus one that's a lot of fun as well. You get cut lists, supply lists, basically everything you need will be listed out so you know exactly what to get. I also do a tool training every month so you feel confident using your equipment, and you get access to the whole past power tool library. And with each project, I do a pricing guide so you know what to charge. You get access to a whole library of previous projects, such as this cute little reindeer. Usually once a month we'll have one with curved cuts and one with straight cuts. So if you don't have a scroll saw or a bandsaw, then you would need a miter saw. So every project does require a miter saw usually. Plus you get a supportive community of over 1,000 amazing people. And there's some amazing success stories in there, from people like not ever having used a saw before to like confidently selling, their signs at markets. If you're ready to stop making excuses about not having like the perfect setup and start making money with the space that you have, I'd love for you to join us. So click the link below. You can join Woodcraft Blueprints for just $26 a month. That's less than you'd spend on lumber for one project, and you get everything you need to start building and selling confidently. I'll see you in the next video or inside the membership.